Hey guys, and welcome to the Fantasy Football Daily. This week I'm joined by the Football Daily's very own Patrick.
Yes.
He's replacing Dave this week, who is pulling a sickie on holiday.
Something like that.
Some nonsense like that.
Yeah.
But again, we're going to be bringing you our opinions on the best tips and tricks to beat your mates at home.
Beat your mates once and for all.
Beat your mates indeed. So let's kick this off. So let's kick off with the goalkeepers first this week, guys. It's a really tough week to call, some very hard fixtures. Patrick's going to kick it off.
It is, yes. I'm here to help you with this because I think you should stick in Hugo Lloris into your fantasy league team. The man with the broken wrist is on his way back. He was before all of that. He was heavily linked with Manchester United, wasn't he? But the David De Gea move didn't happen. If you're looking for a shrewd move to stick into your fantasy league goalkeeper position, I think Hugo Lloris could be a good bet.
Yeah, I do like Hugo Lloris. I think he's playing Sunderland as well. So let's face it. Not the best side at the moment, but they've scored
apologies
a lot of
to anyone
goals.
on Weir side.
Yeah, apologies, but they have scored a lot of goals. They've every single league game this season they've netted. So
they have, but unfortunately the other team has scored more than them.
Yeah,
so
that doesn't help for the Sunderland fans.
But they all go in, don't they?
They do.
But on this occasion, Hugo Lloris I think is a good bet for the Spurs.
I like that call. I agree. Probably Hugo Lloris, good goalkeeper. So guys, my tip in goal this week is going to be to get rid of all your Man United goalkeepers.
Don't all of them.
All of them.
Who are they going to have a goal?
They'll have no one. No one between the sticks. I don't think it's right to bring David De Gea in just yet. He's going to take a little bit of time to get back into it, and they've got Liverpool this weekend, which is a tough fixture. And Romero hasn't performed for the last couple of weeks. I know I told you guys to bring him in last week, but how wrong I was.
Hasn't performed, man. He's letting their first goal against Swansea, didn't they?
He did, but he looks a bit dodgy. He
hasn't been tested yet. Is that what
he hasn't been tested? And
so
I tipped him up last week, and what a mistake!
It's a point nightmare waiting to happen.
He is waiting.
So why don't you, before he does let in any more goals, you could take Joe's advice and swap out Romero and swap out De Gea. So you don't think De Gea will start?
Not quite. I think he'll start, but I'm not quite sure he's going to be up to full speed yet. I know he played midweek for Spain, but give him a little bit of time, a couple of weeks, and then think about bringing De Gea back.
Okay, so no Man United goalkeepers?
None at all.
Right, defenders. So who are we going to put in? So I'm going to go first with defenders, and I've got to go for Ashley Williams.
I like that.
Yeah, the Wales hero. Obviously didn't concede against Israel or Cyprus.
Although it was Israel and Cyprus. So
it was Israel,
Given too many plaudits there.
But was it Tel Ben Haim doing stepovers on the wing? Did you see?
It's not quite Germany and Brazil, is it?
It's
not great.
Anyway, Wellesley or Ashley Williams. I think we should be sticking him in.
I like that.
Also, Swansea are playing Watford. So they're probably the most likely team to keep a clean sheet in the league.
Yeah.
Sorry for any Hornets in North London, but
Watford do look a bit dodgy going forward. I have to say they haven't scored many goals this season.
No.
But I have to agree with Patrick here. I think Ashley Williams has been one of the best defenders in the league, if not the best defender in the league so far this season. So Ashley Williams is a good pick.
Tidy.
Choice. Right guys, my defensive pick is going to be to bring back Laurent Koscielny. I think he's coming back from injury now. He is the core of that defence. When he's there, they play well. When he's not, they're not particularly structured. They're playing Stoke, who are notoriously a bit of a Arsenal bogey side, but Stoke have had a couple of bans from last week's game, so I'm not so sure about him.
Is he 100% confirmed to start? I mean, he's just come back from injury.
99% likely to start. It's a bit of a risk, guys, but it's one you should be willing to take.
I think the good people at home have come here for 100% certainty.
I can't give you it, guys. I just can't.
Yes, just take a risk.
Just take a risk.
Throw your money away.
But he is a good defender, so probably worth it.
Yeah, he is a good defender. Inevitably, that brings us to midfielders, and this week I'm telling you to put into your fantasy league team Juan Mata, the diminutive Spaniard from Manchester United, scored for Spain in midweek.
He did.
Scored an overhead kick against Liverpool. He's your man, isn't he? For some maximum points.
I'm not.
Maybe even making me captain.
I'm not so sure. United a bit dodgy this season. Haven't scored many goals. Haven't created many chances. I know Juan scored against Swansea, but Man United going forward under Van Gaal a little bit rigid and a little bit structured for me. I think they're very readable.
Okay, then if you want to bring in a Manchester United player who's most likely to score, I think Juan Mata would be a good bet.
He is.
If say you've got too many Chelsea players in your team, too many Manchester City players in your team, and you want a top four player in there who's most likely going to score.
And also Liverpool a bit dodgy last week at home to West Ham, so he might be a good shout. But just be wary because they're a bit rigid going forward, and that might not result in many goals.
Yeah, but it's a mouth-watering tie, isn't it?
It is. It really is. So counteracting matter, I actually think Sako is a good shout to bring in this week.
Which Sako are you talking about? You got Sako at West Ham, you got Sako at Liverpool.
Obviously Bakary. Obviously the main man, Bakary Sako at Palace. He is a beast, guys. That left foot is a real ripper.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. That left foot is a ripper. When I was used to watching at Wolves, he's got a serious left peg on him. And
ask your Chelsea fan mates about that.
Yeah. It causes big teams as well. Big teams, serious problems. You look at him against Chelsea last week. He did real damage at Stamford Bridge, cutting off that right and delivering. I think he could be a cheap pick to bring in as well, guys. He's not very expensive early on. He might rise up in price.
I'm here to artificially disagree with Joe, but on this occasion, I just can't. I think Sako's probably still good value, isn't he? And he probably isn't going to be for very much longer.
He is. There's a little bit of a risk here. He's obviously playing Man City at home.
It's another one of Joe's risky punts.
I like a risky punt, don't I? So why not?
What they're here for.
But no, he's at home to City, but he did deliver the goods against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, which is another big game, so maybe he can do it again. I think get him in early while he's cheap before he starts to rise up in price.
It's inevitable, he'll get more expensive.
Inevitable.
So, fair bet.
Bakary Sako.
Right, so next is your strikers. So for this week, I'm going to put in Romelu Lukaku. Will the Chelsea old boy come and haunt his former paymaster Mourinho and co? On this occasion, I think he will. I think Chelsea find Goodison Park a very, very difficult place to go to. They're leaking goals like nobody's business. You've got problems. You've got problems anywhere near the back line, really. Matic, Fabregas, John Terry haven't started particularly well. I think Lukaku, if anyone's going to go in there and throw their weight around and got a chance of getting a goal in that particular fixture, it's Romelu Lukaku.
It is to a level, but I'd also think about the Mourinho factor here. He very much knows Lukaku's game. He knows to get in around them. He can form a defensive line when he needs to against these sort of big players.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we see somebody like Kurt Zouma dropping on him a little bit, or that Terry Cahill partnership pull really tight against Lukaku.
Sounds like a bit of a risky one, Joe. It's
one of yours.
It sounds like it's depending on which Mourinho will turn up.
Yeah, very much.
Romelu Lukaku, I mean, there's goals in them there, Chelsea, I think. And so I think Romelu Lukaku could be a good shout for your fantasy league teams this week.
Okay, so I like Lukaku, but I think Callum Wilson's a better and cheaper option to bring in. I tipped him up last week before the international break. Tipped him up and we produced. You remember Dave sat next to me. He lost that bet, so I think Wilson's.
What did you spend the $5 on?
I don't actually remember.
In the boozer.
Yeah, potentially.
Out in the West Country.
But in the West Country, I had a good scrumpy. But I had tipped it up here last week, and he produced the goods against Leicester. He did it the week before against West Ham, and they've got about 4 easy games before they start hitting the big boys, and he might struggle there.
And you think Callum Wilson can sustain this scoring rate? He's just got a hat-trick against West Ham, scored against Leicester. Is it reasonable to ask these people that he's going to keep scoring week in, week out?
I think it is for the next few weeks, and then you'll start to see Bournemouth playing the likes of Man City and Man United, and that's where you might see him struggle. So get him in for the next few
Eddie Howe will have a different approach certainly for those sort of games.
So get him in for the next few fixtures, and then use him while he's cheap, and then before he scores goals, you've got your main man there in Callum.
Another one from the bargain bucket.
One from the bargain bucket for Tomlinson. So we've picked our main players now, but now it's time for the serious stuff, the captain's pick, the skippers. I think this is probably the biggest thing in fantasy football. It gets you double points at home, and so listen up to this.
It's probably the biggest thing where you can get ahead of the competition, isn't it?
This is how you beat your mates with a good captain's pick.
Beat your mates. Pub ammo and bragging rights.
Indeed. So my pick is going to be Bafétimbi Gomis. Cannot beat the beast, Bafétimbi.
But he can't be that much of a bargain. I think most systems have found him out by now. And so
they have, but we're only 4 weeks into the season.
Yeah. Is he Darren Huckabee de Nager though? Is he going to?
Let's not put him in the same bracket as that rubbish. Nonsense. If you watched last week.
Yeah, there are nonsense T-shirts and hats available now if you watch it from last week.
I think Bafétimbi offers a really, really strong option. He made Daley Blind look a bit dodgy last week.
Found him out,
big time. He found Daley Blind out last week. It's 9 in his last 10 Premier League games. He can do it again this week. There's no reason you shouldn't get him in this week and get him as your captain now.
Well, for my captain's pick, I'm going for a much safer bet, and I think you pay for quality in the fantasy football world. Spurs' saint and saviour, Harry Kane, scored 2 in 2 for England. The quality's still there. Absolutely beautiful goal against San Marino.
San Marino. Wow.
Another fantastic
mates that are better than San Marino. So
another fantastic goal against Switzerland. The form's still there. The quality's still there. It's only a matter of time that translates back into his club game. It's going to happen. It's probably going to happen against Sunderland. Sorry, everyone on Weir side, but there's goals at the Stadium of Light.
Bit of a one-season wonder. No, only did it once. Hasn't scored a Premier League goal this year.
He just scored in midweek.
Yeah, against San Marino
and Switzerland.
Okay, I'll give you the Swiss.
In 1994, they were the third best team in the world.
I'll give you the Swiss, but the San Marino, dearie me.
Okay, well, pick your goal, but he did score, and that's the point. Is I think Harry Kane. Invest in Harry Kane. I think he's and especially captain. You want a safe bet. Not one of the risky bargain basement jobbies from Mr.
I like the bargain basements.
Yeah, we all do. But you know, it's your captain, so go for Kane. I think.
Okay, that's all from us, guys. I hope those tips and tricks do you the business in this week's fantasy league.
Go forth into Fantasy Football League land and make merry with our picks.
And we hope you beat your mates. Thanks very much for Patrick for joining me.
Yeah. Thanks. It's been great being here.
And a quick shout out to Kakao Abdullah, who has gone to the top of the Fantasy Football League with his team Majid Bag FC. Well done. Knocked Josh Quigley into third, who was top last week. So let's try and get back up there quickly.
I can smell a rivalry brewing there already.
Oh, bit of a close call. It's never too late to join the Fantasy Football Daily League.
I mean, you will start at a huge handicap.
Yeah, you are pretty much.
but you're right. It's never too late. Technically.
Join the pins below, and don't forget to subscribe below. We'll catch you on the flip side.